All right, I'm turning it down. Hey, here we are. We're live.
Hey, I think we're good. Hey, everyone. It is a good day. Noah and I are finally getting to do this without technical difficulties. So that positive manifestation trick we just did before we hit the start live button, I think worked for us. So with me today is Noah St. John. We have known each other for many, many years, over a decade. I think we originally met at the National Publicity Summit with previous guest Steve Harrison, who is a mastermind in teaching people how to take whatever it is that they're doing and spin it to be relevant to the media. And so we met there and stayed in touch all of these years, and we continue to keep touching base, saying, okay, what are you working on? What are you working on? How can we work on it together? So one of the things I'm working on constantly with my clients is this money mindset versus scarcity mindset. And it's a consistent issue, more than any issue of any of my clients. And they come to me usually in a moment of complete frustration, complete desperation. So before we start really diving into this topic, I just want to give you some backstory on Noah, just so you can understand how credible his advice is as we talk about this. As you can see, he is the author of Get Rid of Your Head Trash About Money. He is known as the Power Habits Mentor and is famous for helping entrepreneurs get rid of their head trash and making more money. And that's, again, the thing that we all deal with the most. Noah is the only author in history to have works published by Hay House, HarperCollins, Mindvalley, and the Nightingale Conan, and the Chicken Soup for the Soul publisher. He also appears frequently in the news worldwide, including ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox, Parade Magazine, Forbes, and the Huffington Post. And his book is currently available, so if you want to dive more in this topic when we're done talking today, I highly recommend you getting it. It's awesome, and his advice is instantly applicable. So Noah, welcome. We finally made it work. Persistence.
Yay! Well, it's such an honor to be here with you, Jen, and I'm a huge Jen Gruber fan and have been for these many years, as you mentioned, and so it's great to be here with you today and with everybody.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I want to talk about this topic 24/7 because I'm consistently wanting to hack it. Like, what mind hacks, physiological hacks, belief system hacks, energy hacks can we do to eradicate this problem? Because the programming is just so solid and consistent. And I'd imagine the reason you're so passionate about it is the same reason I'm so passionate about it. Oh, thanks, Dennis. That's so sweet. Hey, Chris. Hey, Charles. So just, give us a little backstory on what made you become so clear and concise, focusing on this topic. From where you were a decade ago in your business, it was similar, but now you're like laser focused on this topic.
Yeah. Well, just going back a little bit before that even, I mean, the reason that I'm in this industry, the personal growth industry, I started my company in 1997 in my college dorm room with $800 and a book on how to do HTML. So I literally own one of the original self-help personal growth websites on the planet. I'm actually 7 months older than Google, believe it or not. So I've been doing this we're going into our 20 years now, our 2 decades, and it all started from those very humble beginnings. And, in my college dorm room all those years ago. And the reason for that is because I really wanted to make a difference. I really wanted to help people. I knew I had a message that I wanted to get out. I had been reading personal growth, spiritual growth, psychological books for many, many years. I grew up poor in a rich neighborhood. So I grew up in a little town called Kennebunkport, Maine, which is one of the wealthiest communities in New England, but family's dirt. And I mean, that was at the bottom of a toad in a drafty, unfinished house that my parents ended up losing to foreclosure. So it was very, very weird, very strange growing up in that environment of great wealth, literally on the other side of the street. Meanwhile, my family's dirt poor. And I was like, this doesn't make any sense, because my family, my parents, they worked really hard. They sacrificed, they struggled, they worked hard. but yet they could never seem to get ahead. So I knew from a very young age, number one, that I hated being poor. I freaking hated it, because all I heard every single day, 10 trillion times, was we can't afford it, we don't have the money, I can't afford it. And meanwhile, I'm looking across the street going, well, how come they can afford it? How come they've got money? You know, what's going on here? So I knew from a very young age it was not hard work. Hard work was not the answer, because especially my dad, he worked all the time. So I'm going, it's not hard work, guys. Something else is going on here that they're not telling us. That's why I just went to the library and started reading all these books. And then I was in 1997. I often tell the story, especially in my book of affirmations here, which you mentioned from Hay House, and I call it the shower that changed everything. And I had these just epiphanies, really, and one of them happened in the shower. Like we've all done that, haven't we?
Right.
In the shower, you have that aha moment, and that's why I call it the shower that changed everything, because it was really the beginning of my my company, and what we've been able to do now in 120 countries, and literally tens of thousands of clients all around the world. And that's really why I'm here.
Yeah, by the way, I just saw somebody post a picture from your hometown last night on Facebook, and it looked beautiful. I've not yet been. I had an old agent that lived there. It looked amazing. So usually it is this disparity, this contrast that creates this desire, where either A, if you're born with it, you're like, I never want to not have it, or the people that break the cycle are so desperate to break the cycle because they hated it so much that they did something just like you and I have done, and so many of my clients have done, is just dove into this personal development of how do I change my mindset? How do I create new belief systems and operate from that place on a consistent basis? And Darren Hardy and I, for those of you who don't know, Darren Hardy was the publisher of Success Magazine, and we speak in the same platforms often. And when he came out with the book, Compound Effect, I got really upset because I had been, at that point, really pushing the awareness of emotional intelligence. And I believe so much of success is aligned with a mindset and an emotional state at the same exact time. And as he started talking about the compound effect in theory was, if you wake up a half hour earlier than everyone else and you start to do your a half hour earlier and then you work a half hour later, and I went up to a match, I'm like, are you kidding me? That's what we're teaching people now? Like my UPS man, he works really, really hard. But if he doesn't change his mindset on what he's capable of making, he will never be making millions of dollars. He's working more hours than I am, that I know for sure. He's working a lot harder than I am. So why do we keep perpetuating this old story that really is the story that holds everyone back? So what would you say, as you started to dive in this personal development, was one or two of the key books, nuggets of wisdom, authors, whatever you want to kind of put out there for people that gave you that, like, whoa, I've been doing this all wrong. My parents were doing it all wrong.
Absolutely. And by the way, Jen, I agree with you 100%. That advice is, it's just erroneous. It's incorrect. I hate saying that it's wrong, but it's wrong. So it's like, and I love Darren. He's a friend also, but it's like, dude, no.
Yeah.
And the point is that he's doing a lot of things unconsciously. That's why you mentioned that, people call me the Power Habits Mentor. That's one of the programs that I teach. It's called the Power Habits of Unconsciously Successful People. Mm-hmm. Darren is one of them. He is unconsciously successful. So when a person like that says, hey, you just got to get up earlier, he doesn't realize that's that much of it. He's doing that much. But right. It's like, oh, yeah, there's all this other stuff. So I'm the guy that comes in and fills in the blanks. Right. And that's what I've been doing for 20 years. That's one of the reasons that people come to me after going to all the big names, all the gurus, all the famous dudes. I'll give you just a quick story, quick example of what I'm saying. Yeah. I was speaking at a seminar in Los Angeles, and I was, just finished speaking, and I was walking off the stage, and a guy runs up to me, and he practically tackles me, and he grabs me, and he says, hey, Noah, I want you to be my coach. You're the coach I've been looking for. And I said, great. I didn't know this guy from Adam. Ironically, his name was Adam. So anyway, I said, okay, well, what's going on? And, I'd never seen this guy before. He goes, Noah, I'm totally stuck. I'm only making $4 million a year. Now, of course, what did I do? I had to laugh at that, right? Really, a lot of people, and I said it to him, I said, a lot of people like to be stuck at 4 million a year, right? That doesn't sound so bad, does it? And he goes, no, you don't understand. I own a software company, and we grew to 4 million in revenues, like really fast, like almost overnight, just rocket growth, right? But then he said, we have been plateaued for the last 4 years with no growth, right? And we've just been stuck there. So he said, as soon as I heard you speak, I knew that you were the coach I've been looking for, because everything you just said so resonated with me that he said, I knew you were what I've been looking for. And he goes, oh, and I tried everything. I've tried, this name, that name, he named all the big names. And he goes, nothing's working. He said, as soon as I heard you speak, I knew you were what I was looking for. Anyway, long story short, I ended up coaching him for about a year. And in that year, his company went from being stuck at 4 million in revenues for the previous 4 years to over $16 million in revenues. 1 year. Now, that sounds impossible. You're like, well, that's impossible. Okay, well, who's on video saying it? So what do you want from me? I mean, it's a true story. Just go to our website and go to our praise page, and you can see literally dozens and dozens of real people, real stories, ordinary people getting extraordinary results using the system. So what I want to mention, based on what you just said a moment ago, and by the way, I just want to show you the cover of the book, because, and this is probably backwards for you, but we did actually print it right. It says, get rid of your head trash about money. And the subtitle is How to Avoid the 3 Big Money Mistakes That Even Smart People Make. So the reason that I wrote this book, Jen, and this is my latest book, as you mentioned, I have all those other ones. But I said, because people kept contacting me, writing me on Facebook, social media, email, contacting me on the website. And they kept saying, Noah, I hear that you're the man when it comes to helping people get unstuck. That you're the guy that people go to after trying everything else. I'm like, yeah, that's kind of me. And so, I'm stuck. And how do I get unstuck? And so the point is that I started to really, really think about that. What does that actually mean? Because we hear this so much now, right? Everybody's talking about getting unstuck and I'm going, okay. So obviously, number one, a lot of people are feeling stuck, but number two, what does that mean? And number three, how do we get unstuck? How can we systematically do it? Because remember, one of the things that annoys me about this industry so much is what I just said a moment ago. You've got a lot of what I call unconsciously successful people. I'm not putting them down. I mean, I wish I was one of them, but I'm not, because they're, I'm the opposite of a natural. I'm a self-help nerd. I just went to the library and read hundreds of books on this thing because it was so annoying seeing people who didn't seem to work so hard and, being so successful. I'm like, what do they know that I don't know? What are they not telling us? Program. And that's what I've been able to find out. Yes. So the point is that one of the big mistakes that I hear or see people making is what I call not getting rid of their head trash about money. I mean, that's hence the name of the book, right? So the question is, what is head trash? Right. So what does that actually mean? That's a term that I'm, now known for. What does that mean? Well, basically, your head trash is that guy in your head that says, I can't do it because ... And then you just fill in the dots. Right. So for everyone, watching and listening, the point is we all have that guy in our head that says, I can't do it because, and then, but it's different for each person. So for example, I can't do it because I don't have the money. I can't do it because I can't afford it. I can't do it because I don't have the time. I can't do it because I'm too busy. I can't do it because I didn't go to the right college. I can't do it because my parents did this and this to me. I wasn't born in the right place. I don't know the right people. I don't have the connections, right? And we just fill in the blank. But here's the amazing thing. We always make ourselves right. This is the amazing thing. I'm sure you've heard this statement. It's usually attributed to Henry Ford. Whether you believe you can or you believe you can't, you're right. What I say is I amended it a little bit. I updated it a little. And I say, whether you believe you can or you believe you can't, you make yourself right. You see? We literally make ourselves right. So let's take the greatest excuse that we hear all the time. I don't have the time. Right? I mean, how many times do we hear that? We say it. We hear it from other clients, right? I'm sure we deal with this every day. I don't have the time. Great. So what I do is I show people why that's a lie, right? Yeah. So here's the classic example. And I literally show this to people and they go, wow, that makes a lot of sense, Noah. Okay, so let's say you're going through your day, right? And you're just, and we've all got a million and one things to do, right? We're all busy, overwhelmed, all this stuff we hear. And suddenly you get a phone call. And you pick up the phone and it's a member of your family or a close friend, and you hear that suddenly they were in an accident and they're in the hospital. Now, what would you do? You would say to that person, oh, I'm sorry, I'm too busy, I can't make it. Of course not. You would say, oh my gosh, you drop everything, you cancel everything, and you go and you'd rush to the hospital to be with your friend or loved one, wouldn't you? Now, there's really nobody who wouldn't do that. But do you see what I just proved there? I proved that you saying I don't have the time is a lie. You see? Because you made the time when that thing happened. Does that make sense? So the point is, that's just an example to show you that when you say that, when that's your head trash, you're lying to yourself.
So I think that people don't really reflect upon their time, and I won't get stuck on time too long here, but because it is one of the top excuses. So I say to people, how much do you watch TV each week? And that's one of the biggest time wasters for people. So don't watch TV anymore, and replace that with personal development videos and books. And now all of a sudden you're changing the momentum. You're moving the momentum on this path, which is not the path you want to be on, to go on this path over here with a whole different clarity and focus and perspective of the world. And so you talked about Darren being consciously competent is what I call it. He's, unconsciously competent, where he is, I also will say, unconsciously conscious. So he's been programmed for so long to be successful that he's just operating from a frequency and a belief system where he's in alignment all the time. So him waking up a half hour earlier literally can be the massive difference of, him just basically magnifying another major opportunity to him, because he's already there, he's already in the place, he's already in the alignment, the frequency. So an action step for someone who is unconsciously conscious is there's a lot more reverberation that happens from that than someone who's sitting in the place of lack, scarcity, and non-belief. And so, shifting that perspective to go into the consciousness state, or to change your awareness about your thought processes. And a lot of people don't even do this. I have a client who recently said to me, Jen, what am I doing for the last 20-some years? Like, I've been sleeping. Like, what have I been doing? I'm completely unaware. I'm going to write a book about how unawake I was. And it's the truth, because most people aren't reflecting on these little things. Like, when something happens, they're usually pointing finger at the world, like, this happens to me all the time, I'm always a victim, versus what am I doing to create this? I mean, it's a pattern, it's a cycle. Obviously, I'm contributing to it. How do I change it? So one of the things that you were talking about, this man that went from 4 million to 16 million, because I know everybody's thinking this. I just posted today, I just started working with this client, and she went from the most she ever made in a week in her business was anywhere between 8,000 and 10,000. And in just 1 week, going into the second week of working on her mindset and changing her alignment and frequency, she went to making 20,000. So she doubled, which now her momentum is in the right direction. She's moving her momentum forward. So easily, by the end of this month, if she continued to do that, she would do something very similar to what your client did. So I know everyone's like, I know you can't give it all away, but let's just give everyone 1 or 2 key things that you would have given advice to this man. Because again, 4 million is not a scarcity mindset, but in his mindset, he was not maximizing his potential, and he knew it.
Right, absolutely. And so we teach on our campus at successfulness.com is basically two elements of success. And think of them like 2 circles that are connected like this. All right. So over here you have what we call the inner game, and over here you have the outer game. All right. So the inner game is all the stuff that happens between your ears. It's the stuff you can't see directly, but you see the effects of it. So it'd be things like your beliefs, your desires, thoughts, priorities, decisions. You can't see any of those things directly, but you see the effects of them everywhere, right? I mean, you see the effects of your beliefs literally in everything you do. Like I was just talking about, whether you believe you can or you believe you can't, you make yourself right. So that's just one example. And then, of course, we have the outer game. Now, the outer game are the things you can see directly. They're right in front of you. Things like your habits, your lifestyle, systems, strategies, methods, tactics, all the blocking and tackling that we entrepreneurs and business owners, we have to do every day. The outward facing things that you see every day, customer service and so on. And so the point is that only when you bring those two things together, your inner game and your outer game, that's when you have the thing called success, right? That's when you have the results, the success that you desire. So what he had done, what Adam had done, was prior to coming to me, he'd done mostly work on his outer game, right? So, hey, like you said, 4 million, pretty darn good, right? A lot of people would be like, are you kidding me? That is freaking great, But when you look at the fact that he was plateaued at that level for 4 years, flatlined essentially, no growth, well, he was like, what the heck? This is, okay, what's going on here? Why am I stuck? So nobody had been able to show him really the inner game system. We call it money mindset mastery. So that's, one of my programs. And, that's what I work with my coaching clients on. And these people are paying me anywhere from $50,000 and up. I mean, for a year. And so, that's the point, is we basically didn't talk about outer game. That's what's unbelievable to most people. They're like, well, you must have done his funnels and his sales pages and marketing. And I'm like, no, not really. No, it was pretty much all inner game. Right. And it makes sense when you think about it, because like I said, to get to 4 million at all is pretty darn good. But then to be stuck at that level. Now, just so people are aware of this, I've had people come up to me at my seminars or live events and say, Noah, I'm totally stuck. I'm only making $40,000 a year. I've had other people say, Noah, I'm totally stuck. I'm only making $400,000 a year. And I've had other people say, Noah, I'm totally stuck. I'm only making 4 million a year. So do you see what I mean? It doesn't matter where you are in terms of the money, but everybody knows when they're stuck or when they're unstuck. So once you combine, and again, we call it money mindset mastery, that's the inner game. That's the power habits of unconsciously successful people. That's one of the main reasons that you see, like I said, when you read our success stories for my clients, you see over and over the same pattern. I spent $40,000, $60,000, $100,000 on everybody else out there, but I was still stuck. Why? Because generally speaking, you're taking classes from naturals. You're taking classes from people who are unconsciously competent at allowing themselves to succeed. So what I'm the nerd that came in and said, okay, here's what the naturals are doing that they cannot teach you. Nothing against them. Like I said, God love them. That's great that they're naturals. And you notice what's interesting is that for the naturals, their biggest success story is usually themselves. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that what I teach is a system that anybody can use. Right. That's why we get results like we're talking about, because if it's personality dependent, then you have to be a certain personality. You have to be like outgoing and extroverted, which I'm not. I'm an introvert. My idea of excitement is curling up with a good book. I'm perfectly happy with that. I'm in an industry, our industry, that you have to be extroverted. You have to. I also love talking to people, so it's kind of weird. But my point is, it's not personality dependent, it's system dependent, which means that no matter who so we've got chiropractors, moms, teenagers, NFL athletes, coaches, speakers, online marketers, people in the healing arts, network marketers. I just got off the phone earlier today with a network marketing company, and they've got 1,000 people reading one of my books. They've got readers groups all over the country, and I mean, it's so exciting when you see those kind of results.
Yeah, I just said today when I posted about my client, the reason I'm so passionate about it is because we can change things, and scarcity causes so much conflict in our society, whether it's in your own home, like I just paid for that, no, now I'm not paying for that, and it causes fighting, or where you have conflict in communities around disparity of, you witnessed it in your own community of economic threshold. Right. And the thing is, when people get mad now about the rich keep getting richer, it really is because the rich have conditioned a mindset, this unconscious consciousness of how they're living it, how they're living their lives, and how they're mastering things. And when you talk about unconsciously conscious, people might say, well, how do they get that way? I'd say there's two major ways. There's more, but two of the major ways is they were born into money and success, and it was programmed into them from the very beginning. There was no scarcity. I'm friends with some of the Walton grandchildren, and I said to them one day, what does it feel like to wake up every day your entire life and you never worried about money? Like, what does that feel like? Like, I just want to like put me in your eyes for a second and show me what that world looked like. And another is, and I just witnessed this 2 weekends ago, one of my friends who grew up extremely poor, had the same desire like you and I, like, I don't want this. I want to change my cycle and I want abundance all the time. And then he wound up going to the Naval Academy, where they program this like very positive, take every problem and make a solution. And he became, because he was younger and doing it, it's so much easier when you're younger. So if you have kids, right, program them now. I try all the time with my kids. I never say we can't afford something or we don't have enough of something. If I choose not to spend money on something, I say to them, I choose not to spend my money on that right now because I don't value it enough at this moment.
Right.
So, but people become that way. But for him, he just programmed it. So now I watched him do it to his kids. His one daughter goes, I hope that I'll be able to figure out this little thing at work. And he goes, no, you will figure it out. There is no hope. You just will. And I was like, wow, he's programming them right now, which is awesome. So that's how they become unconsciously competent, consciously conscious, and operate from that level. So one of the things I want to address, because I know people want one more, like, what's a tip I can walk away with today? Sure. And they feel like, I think people feel that it's going to take such a long time. I have all this negative programming, all this head trash. And they don't realize, like, it really doesn't take that long. It just takes you waking up, becoming aware, and then reprogramming like you would, like, on your own computer or your phone, downloading a new program that overrides the last program. And it can take a long time for some people, by the way, because they don't actually believe in their commitment to it, or they don't believe evidence in the world around them is telling them something different than what they're trying to reprogram. So as I say, your present moment that you're looking at is actually your past. So don't allow that to become your evidence of what's real, because you're programming something new right now that's for tomorrow in the future. So give us like one key thing that you would say that you've taught your students and that they might pull out of the book that people are like, what? That was so easy. That was so obvious. I can't believe no one's taught me that. Why aren't people learning this in school?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, I'll give you one of my favorite shortcuts, and we have a lot of shortcuts. And let me just say real quick about the word shortcuts. Some people, take that the wrong way. I really feel there are real shortcuts and fake shortcuts. Everybody's looking for a fake shortcut. Mm-hmm. Fake shortcut is quick and easy, and it's all the stuff that you read on blogs and stuff like that. Again, I'm not saying that a lot of it doesn't work, but I'm saying that we humans are always looking for a quick and easy fix, which sometimes it can be, but sometimes it isn't. So I call them real shortcuts. A real shortcut is something that you not only do immediately, but it also has a positive long-term effect. And really that is the best shortcut that I've seen, is to find a mentor, somebody that can help you get where you want to go. Now, on our campus at successclinic.com, we teach that a mentor is two things. The first thing is a mentor is where you want to be. Now, that makes sense, of course, because you don't want to be following somebody who, to borrow Chris Farley's phrase, is living in a van down by the river, right? I mean, you remember that Saturday Night Live sketch, right? Absolutely. So the point is, that's why that's funny, because it's like we wouldn't follow, that doesn't make any sense, right? So naturally, you want to have that person be where you want to be. Now, by the way, it's not just in business or money. I mean, it can also be in health. It can be in relationships, it can be in your finances, it can be lots of different areas of life. And, you could have different mentors for different areas if you want. However, the second point, and this is something that people really, really forget, and that is that mentor or coach has to be able to show you step by step how to reach your goals. Now, this sounds obvious, but so many people miss this. And here's a very disturbing trend that I see in our industry. And that is I just call it the guru epidemic. There is an epidemic of guru-ness, meaning people who are really, really good self-marketers. Okay, they're very, very good at promoting themselves. And, again, some of them are very good, some of them not so hot. And I get a lot of people who come to me who've been burned by a lot of so-called gurus, and they've spent tens of thousands of dollars on really, really great self-marketers. So here, let me save people, hopefully, lots of money and time and effort. And here's all you have to do. Number one, look at that. Okay, so number one is to figure out what you want. What is it you want? So like I counsel people, and I tell my clients, I suggest to them, and I encourage them, write down your top 3 goals for the next 12 months. Just focus on 3 goals. There's a lot of people out there that say, write 101 things that you want. I'm not saying that you're not going to get 101 things. I'm saying it's just hard to focus these days. And it's really, really hard to focus on doing 101 things. In fact, even 3 is a lot. But just take your top 3 for the next 12 months. Then number 2, determine who can help you reach those goals. And again, remember, business, finance, health, relationships, whatever area you need or want to work on. The point is, when you're looking for that person, do a couple of things. Number one, make sure that they're where you want to be. So like when I hired my very first mentor, I was $40,000 in credit card debt working out of my parents' basement because I had listened to a lot of really, really bad advice. So when people come to me in that situation, I've been there. I know exactly what that's like. I spent tons of money. I mean, well over $200,000 listening to really lousy advice from very persuasive people. Because I'm pretty gullible. I'm naive. And when somebody would tell me something, I'm like, oh, okay. And I would just believe them. Well, unfortunately, some people aren't always telling the truth. I think we know that. I had to learn that the hard way. My point is that. What's that?
I've seen lots of those Facebook ads lately.
Lots of Facebook ads, right? Exactly. So my point is, oh, totally. And I mean, so when I hired my first mentor back in 2007, number one, I didn't have the money. I'm like, that was my easy excuse. Well, I don't have the money. And I wasn't saying I don't have the time, but I was saying I just can't do it. That was I can't do it because. And I said, well, Noah, if you keep doing what you're doing, you're going to keep getting the same results.
Right.
So that's what I teach. So, are you going to be a hypocrite, or are you going to, put your money where your mouth is? Well, I didn't have any money. But what's amazing, Jen, is, and I know you know this, when you find the why, you find the way. When you have a desire that's strong enough, you find the way. Like back in 1997, when I started successclinic.com in my college dorm room with $800 and a book on how to do HTML, I had no idea what I was doing. But I just had a deep desire to help people and make a difference, which I know all of the folks watching this have as well. So the point is that make sure that they're where you want to be. And more importantly, I argue it's more important that they have a system and they have a proven track record of people that they've gotten results for. So you've got to do your homework. You've got to do your research. That's why we have our praise page on noahstjohn.com, because there you go. I mean, there's dozens and dozens of stories of real people and real results, and there's videos, there's written. Because why? Because it's not about me. It's not about my personality, and that's pretty much what we see in the guru space right now is, hey, look at my watch. Hey, look at my car. Hey, look at my house. Hey, look how cool I am. Okay, man, that's awesome for you, buddy. But I don't care about your money. I care about my money. I care about my family. I care about what I want to do, just like everybody, right? Everybody's the same way. So,
right.
I mean, again, I get I'm so successful, so you follow me. You shouldn't follow a guy down by the river. I totally get it. But have you helped anybody or just yourself? So I'm kind of on a crusade here because I kept my mouth shut about this for years, Jen, before I finally I couldn't take it anymore. And finally I came out of the closet in that way, and I said, you know what, guys, this is the reality. I can't take this guru epidemic because, frankly, I hate seeing people get ripped off. I hate people taken advantage of because I was taken advantage of, and I don't want to see that happen to anyone else.
Yeah. So without going too far down that path, I just want to, because we're kind of on the same crusade for the same reason, and we've been around long enough to see it. And so one of the biggest things I want to really reverberate again to people is find someone who has what it is that you want. So I listed in the beginning, Noah's got all these best-selling books at all these different publishing houses. So if that's what you aspire for as an author, that's the kind of person you want to talk to, because they've already done it, and it's an odd thing to accomplish. So it wasn't like a stroke of luck. There was a reason that behind doing it. You know, with me, when I would say to people, again, like you said, it doesn't have to be success. It could be that they're living a lifestyle that you want, or their level of happiness. It could be that simple. They're that happy. How do they get that happy? And how can they learn to be happier? Because some people, that's really as big it is like that will change their life forever, and that's really what they want. So it doesn't have to be success around money. It can be success around living a lifestyle that you want, being happier, more blissful, more joyful, having better, more fulfilling relationships. But I will end with this one story on this mutual crusade, because I was at dinner with this woman, and her title was like the millionaire maker or something like that. So I was like, oh, well, where did you make your first million? And she's like, well, what do you mean? I'm like, well, if you're teaching people to be a millionaire, you needed to, of course, created at least $1 million of your own net worth to do so, right? And she was like, well, I just studied under so-and-so. And I'm like, but you haven't done something to like demonstrate this level of wealth for yourself or for other people yet. But you're calling yourself, I mean, that's like a huge call right there. I'm going to make you into money. That's fraud, quite honestly. So anyway, I get the crusade. I see it all the time. I try not to put too much energy into it because I want to focus on how do we get the right advice out there. Unfortunately, for some people, they have the how do I navigate through the weeds of all these people syndrome. But you're right. I mean, I couldn't be where I am today without a mentor. You and I both couldn't have probably been where we are with all the publicity we've gotten without the help of Steve and Steve's team for the National Publicity Summit. So I tell people the best investments I've always made was in my mentors, and without them, I couldn't be where I am. So amazing advice. I want to be respectful of your time. I told you a half hour. We've done like 45 minutes. So thank you so much for joining us. And if anyone wants to grab the book, again, you can get it on Amazon. It's Get Rid of Your Head Trash About Money. So it's pretty straightforward what the book is going to do. Anything else you want to make sure that people know?
Yeah, absolutely. And actually, they can actually get the book for free. You can get it on Amazon or wherever books are sold. But if you go to sendmeabooknoah.com, it's very easy to remember. Sendmeabooknoah.com, and I will in fact send you a book. So sendmeabooknoah.com, and it's free. So you can either download the ebook version, and that's absolutely free, or if you want to get the hard copy shipped right to your door anywhere on the earth, just go to sendmeabooknoah.com and click the hard copy version, and we cover the book cost, so there's no cost of the book. We just ask you to cover the shipping. So sendmeabooknoah.com.
Right there.
And then our main site is just my name, noahstjohn.com. You can learn all about our different programs and coaching and so forth. Awesome.
I mean, how could you not want it? It's free, for goodness sakes. So, all right, everyone, thanks so much for joining us. Thanks for participating. Great to see you, Heather, Kim, Manuel, Dennis, everyone that joined us. Thank you so much. And I'll look forward to having you back sometime, Noah.
That sounds great, Jen. It was always a pleasure to talk with you.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Take care.